Right, hi folks. Now, I found this one the other week when I was having a little break from this. Um, Wedger's back. Not watched it. There's no way. It's like an hour and a half long. So get a cup of tea, get a coffee, whatever your beverage of choice is. Get a snack because it's John. It goes on forever. I chip in. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a long one. Um, I haven't bothered to do my research as to who this guy interviewing him is. It's an American guy. He do love an American, doesn't he? He wants that American grift money. Um, so no disrespect to the guy who's interviewing him. Don't know enough about him. Probably should have researched him a bit more because there's enough about him to put at least a question mark next to his name. But hey ho, tis what it is. So no hate to the bloke. Don't harass him or anything like that. No need for that. But we're just here to pick holes in the story. Let's see if it's changed because the last one was hilarious. His river police thing, the speedboat and the kamikaze seagull, and there was all sorts of elaborations, which I think we'll put in there for his book. Having said that, I was like, well, John Wedger on his roof. What happened to this professional podcast? What happened to that? All we've seen him do is trough out the same old crap a few times this year when he was supposed to be having a professional podcast where he was interviewing people and all the rest of it. Well, that didn't happen. What happened to the old charity bike thing? And I'm not talking about Anna Breeze. We know all about that nonsense. Did he do that? Did the guy get his private medical care in the end? Oh, so quiet. Anyway, maybe he'll tell us in this. Right, it's going to go on forever. Let's go.
This is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On today's show, of a very special guest.
Oh, well, that's gone wrong from the beginning. William Ramsey investigates. You needed to investigate this one a bit more, my friend. Never mind, plenty of fell down that trap.
He comes to us from the UK. His name is Jon Wedger. His last name is spelled Wedger. And he came to my attention. Somebody reached out to me. My listenership is doing me a lot of favors because I've had these really great recent
They are not.
guests from the recommendation of people listening to my shows. So somebody said, hey, you should reach out to John. I might have come across him researching in a while, but I hadn't heard his name. But he sent me some links to some of the interviews he's done.
Of course he did. Sure, that would be in his prime. Oh, God.
He is an ex or former Scotland Yard detective who currently campaigns for the protection of whistleblowers and justice for the victims and survivors.
He's done none of those things. He's done none of those things. He's spouted a story that's changed a million times for years and years, and he's grifted. None of those things. Protecting and helping whistleblowers. Big old cross there. People have gone to him back in the early days, and he basically was like, F you. This is all about me, my friend. As for helping people, no, absolutely genuine victims with paperwork because this guy doesn't like paperwork. They've gone to him, asked for his help, and he's like, "No, f you, go to the police."
Child abuse. He is a whistleblower as well. And
no, he isn't. He really isn't. Absolutely isn't. What did he blow the whistle on then? Oh, hang on. Is that a lonely monk I hear in the background? Ding, 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 ding. What's that? Oh, thought it was a giant dust bunny. No, it's tumbleweed. Get out of here.
He's also exposed the dark side of the police and this cover-up of...
He is the dark side of the police, and they're a lot better off without him.
High-profile names, a lot of names that if you listen to my show, you'll know these names. He's had many attempts to have the police jail him. He knows about satanic ritual abuse.
I've put this on cartoon mode just because it's got to be transformative. Just in case. He's not drinking out of that little Jon Wedger tin cup with his mug on it. His mug on his mug. His prison cup. He's not, is he? He's dragged out his merch for his American debut.
I've studied a case, and I included it in my book, Children of the Beast, and that was the case of Colin Batley, which is a documented case of satanic ritual abuse. So it's not some kind of fantasy or some form of satanic panic. It does exist. I don't think it's very common. Maybe John thinks it's more common. but he can
Oh
talk.
no! It isn't very common, and I've never said it doesn't exist. It does, but not in the way that John and Wilfred Wong would have us believe. But John does believe it's very common. In fact, he says that all got to be careful here. All CSA is satanic. Yes, that's him. We've got him. We've got him many times saying that. He also calls children destitutes. He's been told that people who've been through CSA find that massively offensive. He continues to say it. He does not care. He doesn't care.
More about that. So some of these names will pop up. So Jon Wedger, welcome to the show.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me, William.
Oh.
Excellent. And we were talking in the pre-show. My first interview I ever did on my YouTube channel was with somebody you were just with, Corrine Hutz, about. And I've interviewed her recently, but my first interview maybe 4 or 5 years ago was with her. So we have a kind of a mutual association. But for people who may not have heard your name, Jon, can you kind of
lucky.
I included that brief bio, but can you kind of go through your background and how you found this calling
here we go.
Speak out against child abuse and cover up?
Yeah, no worries. Again, I sort of I've become quite well known in the UK, and then it sort of spread.
Oh yeah, because remember he's a household name and an influencer. On his Facebook, the cheeky bastard's got himself down as a public figure. Police. Yep, 10 out of 10 people, if you asked them on the street, wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo who you are, Inspector Gadget.
I've got a following globally now, and it's all by default. I never went out for any recognition at all.
You liar! Stop it! You were crawling all up the backside of the Catholic Church and then got all hurt when they weren't interested because they could sniff a rat a mile off.
Really, but
you've been on everything you possibly could have on alternate media. You have teamed up with every weirdo. Toxic nurse with the Botox head. Anyone?
My position is that I'm a retired police detective, and
Grifter.
I'm a whistleblower, and
Grifter.
For that, what qualifies me to hold that title is that I spoke out whilst a serving detective with Scotland Yard, and
God, here we go.
I was investigating vice crime in London, and we had an allegation come forward from a young girl, 13-year-old girl.
Right, I'm skipping this because he's going to get pervy. I doubt the American's going to let him get into the normal graphic detail that he likes to get into. Not anyone's bag, but more sensitive in the States to this. Because this goes on so long, we've heard it before. It's all bullshit.
In all of these care homes in the UK, I can't remember. I read a story about one. There was in an island kind of south of the UK. I can't remember it offhand, but there's been like
Jersey
stories of predators.
Yeah. That was in Hope de la Garenne in Jersey.
That's right.
And it's very funny how all this dovetails together. And I will come on to that. It's very.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Because Bill Maloney was all over that, and then here comes Johnny.
Peculiar how these things are all linked, and this shows how organised child abuse is. It's an international trade. It's don't worry about drugs.
Don't worry about that.
Weapons. Two of the biggest trades is a trade.
Don't worry about them. I mean, they're all interlinked anyway. But for John, don't worry about them.
Trading children and a trading animals.
Oh no! Is he going to go on about his snake charming over in Africa where he was undercover? He was undercover because, he wouldn't stick out with his grey hair at all. Is it? Oh no! Is he going to add this in? I don't want to listen to what he's going to say here. But in case he adds the undercover in Africa.
It's incredible how much money is involved in the trading animals. I've got an ex-colleague of mine. He works on that area now out in Africa, and
Oh, hang on! I thought it was you. That's what you told Michael Tarraga. That was you. So you were picking up somebody else's story. Okay.
talking a multi-billion-pound industry there, but children are
Right,
number
but
one.
children is huge. Children and sex trafficking are bigger than drugs.
Yeah,
So
oh, yeah,
sex
yeah, yeah.
trafficking is a bigger, whether it's underage or anything like sex trafficking from even older women are forced into trafficking from China or Asia and Mexico. It's a huge industry.
Well, this is my big argument, because I say when I lobby Parliament, the British Parliament, quite a lot, and
No, you don't, John. Stop lying.
and I tell them, I say, stop looking at Thailand and Cambodia.
Really? Oh yeah, don't worry about that. All the perverts that go over there, because they don't do it over here, so they like, go and run riot over there. Oh no, don't worry about that, because that's happening somewhere else. Really? Aren't children precious wherever they are?
And that, the trade is going on underneath your nose.
Yes.
If you know how to look for it, if you recognise the signs, it's going on underneath your nose. We've got to stop pointing the finger at the third world countries and saying, look at, these.
Nobody is pointing. Oh God, who's pointing the finger at third world countries? Who's doing that?
Retarded, backward, banana republic places where children.
Oh, here comes John's racism. Brilliant. Who speaks like this? Oh, John, the good Christian.
A commodity. It's going on under our noses in first world Western society. It's going on, and it is. It's
Who
in
thought it
fact
wasn't?
probably more so. Now, I spoke.
Really, John. Well, can we have some stats to go with that, please? Oh no, that'd be evidence, yeah.
Out and I said, right, this
God,
is
we don't do
corruption
that.
because I've been threatened for covering up, what is the most impactful and most important crime here. So I made an allegation to a corruption unit within the police, and they did take it seriously. But what happened then? The investigation was taken off of them, and it was passed to a national investigation unit. And what they did was they shelved it, and then they decided, because I was now a witness and classed as an intimidated witness, they decided to turn all their investigative efforts into me. So instead of investigating the allegation I made, they started investigating me.
I wish they'd do now. Where's all the money gone?
So there was a 4-year campaign to destroy me. There was 9.
So full of shit. The state wants to destroy you, I can assure you. You get destroyed. Seen it firsthand. I know someone who had every element. I've known many people actually who talking government advisors who didn't sell the company line, lost everything: careers, houses, marriages, friendships, sanity. It's not nice. They wanted to destroy him. He's not that tough. He'd be destroyed. He's making it up.
Cases put against me to the Crown Prosecutor to try and imprison me. I was interviewed for, and
if they wanted to get you locked up, you'd be locked up. You really would be.
Alleged to have taken part in some of the most bizarrest of allegations. They went through over 10 years worth of my work emails, and I was getting arrested for example. One of the things I got arrested for was theft, right? Theft, and it turned out it was theft of a piece of A4 paper, because I'd printed off an invoice for a private company.
And this was while you were
when you were moonlighting, yeah? Was that it? When you were moonlighting?
Working at Scotland Yard, correct?
Yeah. They alleged me of trafficking heroin. And said I could get 15 years in prison.
Did we hear that one before? Oh, I don't know. It all molds into one.
I mean, absolute load of nonsense. Data protection violations.
Oh, I can believe he did do that.
Threats to kill. Because I told one senior officer, if you ever touch my children, I'll kill the lot of you. So,
well, yeah, that was a bit dumb then, wasn't it? That was a bit dumb.
Then arrested me for threats to kill. Yeah, and it was just bizarre. They stopped paying me. Now, bear in mind the threats that.
Yeah, well, that's changed, isn't it? That's changed.
Were against me. I was told you're going to lose your home, your job, and your children. right? So now I'm looking at losing my job. I'm looking at losing my liberty. I'm looking at losing my home, because over that 4-year period, for 3 of the
He's forgot about the kids.
years, I never got paid. So I had no money. So
That's not true. That's not true. He was paid, and then he was off sick so long. He was on half pay. And then it was, I believe, it was can you just fuck off now? And he took retirement. Get
I
rid of
went
him.
sick and I had to work in construction.
So you went off sick, but you were still capable of working. So you lied then. Maybe the police should have their money back, right?
As a labourer for cash in hand to survive. And then
What years were those, John? What years?
This was between 2014 to the end of 2017.
It's not that long ago.
No, not that long ago. One of the, I mean, they was just worried that I'd go to the press, which I did. I went to the press in great style, you know. I really.
Oh, great style. No, he made up a load of old shit. He was encouraged by Bill Maloney to do that because it fit a narrative that the UK column were pushing at that time, along with all the other fundamental Christians.
Hit that one hard. But one of the things that happened during that period, I've had the banks coming round to look at repossessing my house. I'm looking now at the, me going before a Crown Court, and one of the 9 cases maybe sort of, taking hold, and I get prosecuted. If I went before a court and I was found guilty, they would hit me with the hardest sentence.
Oh God.
They could. I knew that for a fact, but I'd done nothing wrong, so I wasn't. Well, I was frightened, but I wasn't going to back down. But during that period of time, one of my children got involved in a very.
Yeah, I'm going to skip this. We know about this. He needs to stop using this story for his ill-gotten gains.
Ex-criminals, and some of these were very well infamous gangsters in the United Kingdom. And one thing that, talk on a weekly basis, even today, we were, over the last 10 years, me and Bill have
oh God,
become like brothers, and all through.
Sorry to interrupt, John, but it just shows how important it is for people to put these documentaries or just something out and leave it there, because I was just through my research that I bounced across that documentary and just watched it, and it's interesting just now, and that's like linking it up to you, but it takes a lot of courage to come up.
Well, what came out of all of this was how we were all threatened. All us police officers were all threatened in the same way, exactly the same way, and I call it the algorithm of bullying. So how I was attacked, that's how.
Do you call it that? Someone's given you that, haven't they? We've never heard that before.
Lenny Harper was attacked.
He's the person who can't put his phone in landscape. Yeah, okay. You tell us all about the algorithms.
Maggie was the other girl from Rotherham, which has come up on the screen in Greater Manchester.
Who actually speaks about a 40-plus-year-old woman as a girl? Oh my God.
Manchester, she was attacked in the same way, and we all of a sudden had a voice, so we started lobbying Parliament.
You and Bill Maloney got thrown out. Let's be clear.
Started then going out and interviewing survivors of abuse. Using my detective skills, I would go around.
Your detective skills. Anybody? Jeanette Archer? Isabella, the spinning vagina lady. Come on, man.
Around the country, and I started talking to a lot of ex-criminals, and some of these were very well infamous gangsters in the United Kingdom. And one thing they all had in common, they were all sexually abused. And through that, I got to know Corinne Hutzterbart, who is one of the best sex offender profilers in the world. I mean, she's caught two serial killers, and she's got an incredible success rate in the work that she does. And she's one of the only ones who deals with child murderers. So I work closely with Corinne now, doing a lot of outreach work. I've just come back from Belgium working with her.
But what happened to when you went to some place and you alone made somewhere a crime scene because there was going to be some person who'd been murdered, some child who'd been murdered there. What happened about that? Oh, nothing again. Hmm. I hope you weren't manipulating that person's family. I think you probably might have been. But that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. But nothing happened, did it, John? Like everything else, nothing happened. Your great detective skills bought us Jeanette Archer. Fucking Nikki Cooper. Come on. So much good that done. God, the world is a better place, isn't it? No, not really. All the splinter groups that have been born off of that. Your crazy fundamental Christian pal, Wilfred Wong. Thank goodness there was great detective work going on with that. Otherwise, goodness only knows what would have happened to that little boy. Sick.
But one of the things that started coming forward was that every now and then, we would get people that would tell their stories in the children's home, the sexual abuse that went on, the cover-ups, how the children were denigrated when they left the school. There
Yeah.
was a lot of anger, but because bear in mind, William, anger is trapped trauma. From there, they would get involved in crime, and they get involved in the criminal justice system, into juvenile detention and then adult detention. And it's the same cycle. It doesn't work. Our penal system, it fails miserably because they don't address the problem. It's got an 80% miserable failure rate, and then there's a lot of drug addiction.
Does he mean reoffending rate? Yeah, it does. Doesn't really work, does it, prison? I mean, what else is there? What else is there? Not enough support for people in trouble. Really isn't enough support. But everybody's known that. We don't need you to educate us on that. But I wouldn't want weirdos and murderers and God knows what else running around the streets. Lock the fuckers up. Don't let them out again. Oh, yeah, but then you don't like the justice system, do you? Because you said that you think it would be better if we brought up a judiciary that brought back the witch trials. Because you thought that was fairer. Not that you've got women issues or anything, eh?
Because we got to look at addiction to things like analgesics, like heroin. I mean, heroin, is a painkiller. And why do they take pain? Because they're in pain. These people are in a lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain, and then 1 in 10 of the people I talk about would say, well, I was abused in a different way. And there was something different about these people.
Oh, just 1 in 10, because I thought all CSA was Satniks. Thought that. 1 in 10 now, is it? Okay. So you changed your tune there. Good. I still think it's less than 1 in 10. That's
very,
for sure.
You could see that the trauma was chiseled very, very deep in them. They would actually get stuck in talking about it. They seemed like they were trapped and they weren't.
Oh, what, like Jeanette Archer? Couldn't stop her talking about it, could you, sicko?
Unable to vocalize.
Just the person who was encouraging this, just for anyone who's new in the house here, Jon Wedger, when he was on Charlie Ward, he's the person that was telling everyone that they should all watch child horrific films that are illegal, so that they could be traumatized by it. But yeah, he was encouraging people to do that. It's actually a crime to do that. Gets you in prison and on the register.
And then when you did,
and his pal Charlie Ward, Dr. Charlie Ward, who's a known liar because he's not a doctor, he never has been. He said that he'd seen images like that. What? And films like that. What? How? As a civilian, you shouldn't be watching that. No one should be watching that unless they're forced to in a professional manner, like a police investigation. And those people are trained to cope with the horrors. I couldn't cope with it, that's for sure. I don't have tools in my toolbox to sleep ever again if I saw witness something like that.
Managed to get something out of them. They said it was to do with Satanism, devil worship, and it'll be their parents, usually the grandmother.
So, yeah, it's got to be the grandmother. Bloody women. Burn them! Drown them! Bring back the ducking stools. Forgotten what I was going to say then.
And they would be taken to places and they were ritually abused. And I never really sort of got to grips with it. And then Bill
Really?
Maloney, he said to me one day, you know, your job is to talk about ritual abuse. That's your job. That's what God
So he was your handler then, was he? Because I always thought that that was the dynamic.
wants you to do. And I didn't actually want to. But the
Don't
moment I
lie.
did start speaking about ritual abuse, my word, I got attacked. I got attacked so badly. I had a huge social media following. You know, I could put out a video and the next day it could get 2 million.
Yeah, and why was that? Because you were grifting with Anna Breeze, and all of the money that you raised, all but about 6 grand of it, went to paying Facebook to raise your profile. You bought that profile, so shut up. Come on, tell the truth here. Didn't happen generically. It doesn't happen generically. You grifted and you bought it. And then you continue to lie
Hits. It was incredible.
and grift.
But the moment I started talking about ritual abuse, my word, the shutters went down. My hit rate plummeted. I was getting trolled. I was getting
Yeah.
reports to the police that I was talking about cases that were ongoing in the court system. So I'll be getting threats from high up in the judiciary that I'll be prosecuted if I carried on talking about it.
Well, yeah, because if there were cases that were in court and you were putting your spin on it, then yeah, you could jeopardise a case, couldn't you? Jeopardise some victim getting justice. Quite right too. Shut up.
Videos were done against me, and there was very pro-satanic groups attacking me.
Oh, that was me, wasn't it? Yeah, because I had them pictures in my dining room with the red shoes on, and that was enough, wasn't it? Oh God, pro-satanic groups. Where are these groups? I mean, like, you know, surely one of them would have contacted me by now, going, "Oi, look, we see your videos. We can see you can't stand Jon Wedger. Well, we can't stand him either. Come join us." No, that didn't happen. Oh God, I might have to skip this. He's winding me up.
And then I was given a document, and it's called the Rains List.
No, you wouldn't. That didn't happen after that, did it? Don't lie. Oh, the timeline, John, keep up. You spoke the very first interview when Bill Maloney brought you on the scene. The Rains List was mentioned. So that was before you had your Facebook. That was before you were interviewing the victims, half of which were making it up. You knew about that Rains List that's been discredited about 8 million times. I mean, come on. But get your timeline right. You mentioned it. You're so dumb. There is a video where you and Bill Maloney are mentioning the Rains List. And my God, you've been clinging on to that ever since, haven't you? But the timeline's off here. This didn't happen after you had your public profile that you paid for through grifting with Anna Breeze. No. You knew about it before. So it wasn't when all these pro-satanic groups were attacking you. Oh, no, it didn't. No, that's not true, is it? Another Porky Pie from Inspector Gadget.
And I implore anyone who's got an inquisitorial mind to look up this document. It's RAINS. It's an acronym, RAINS. It
Oh, he can
stands for
spell
Ritual
today.
Abuse. I think it's
Oh, he doesn't know.
some Ritual Abuse Investigation Network Support, something like that. And it's compiled by a woman called Dr. Joan Coleman. Dr. Joan Coleman was a leading psychotherapist at a top London psychiatric hospital. And like myself, she would talk to survivors of sexual abuse.
Oh my God. Yeah, but this was all before you came on the scene, wasn't it, John? What's happened since? What's happened since?
She started seeing a very similar pattern that every now and then, 1 in 10, they would talk.
No, don't try and make it like this was going on at the same time. She was seeing the same things that you were. No. You came years and years and years after that, courtesy of Bill Maloney. Stop it.
Talk about this ritual side of it, and they were clearly different in their demeanor. And what happens with ritual abuse is that they're
There we go.
tortured.
Go. DID. Not saying it doesn't exist, but it's incredibly rare. It's not commonplace like in fact, there's plenty of people that say that that doesn't exist. It's a very contentious issue in psychiatry and psychology. Very contentious issue. If it is in existence, it's so damn incredibly rare. It's not running around like wildfire like a hedgehog here would have us believe.
And the most degrading and appalling things are done to them, which I want to try and highlight as best I can.
No.
People need to
No, I'm skipping this bit. He's going to go in his pervert mode. Audio prawn for weirdos.
dog was the key link to their dead daughter, and they tried to ruin the dog. And Madeleine McCann, yeah, and the two parents attacked the dog handler, and this dog handler was actually used.
I can't. Don't jump on the bandwagon with Madeleine McCann. Everyone's had their money out of her. Whatever happened to her? Don't you dare. You don't know anything about it. Nothing that can't be found on the internet. You're not a great big investigator, are you? Shut up.
I've never had one say it's against Muhammad, it's against Vishnu, it's against Ganesh, it's against Hanuman, it's against Buddha. Never.
What?
Ascended masters, whatever. Jesus Christ. That is what they don't like. And
Really?
the blood of Jesus Christ was sent to save us, so therefore it's a blood ritual. And so they use blood. So everything is done with blood oaths, blood rituals. And the blood of a child is the cream of what they want.
Oh no, not they're doing the crime again. Oh my god.
And I've heard some shocking.
Yeah, well, keep them to yourself.
Testimonies over the years. You know.
Yeah, do you remember Jeanette Archer? All lies, and lies.
Real appalling things, you know, and they will use the children, the survivors. They will use them to murder the other children.
Oh, you sicko! Right, we've heard all this. Oh God, I hope he doesn't carry on.
Common law with them, which is what you have over there. America has, Canada has. I think Jamaica's got it. Lots of parts of Africa, Australia, you know, and India. They've got, you know, common law, and it's actually a very, very good system, you know, and you know, with trial by jury.
Apart from everyone who tries to use it over here sort of ends up in contempt of court, losing their house or their car or whatever.
And we prosecutors have to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that you did it, whereas everywhere else got Napoleonic law, where it's the other way round. You have to prove your innocence, and then it's governed and it's managed by a local magistrate, a local judge, who coordinates everything. You know, it's open to huge amounts of corruption. Not that the other system isn't, of course it is, but you know. So I started really sort of deviating from not straightforward. It's all bad, but normal sort of straightforward allegations of historical institutional sexual abuse into the dark world of satanic ritual abuse, and it was my life changed. Let's put it that way. My life changed.
But I thought it was getting wrecked before that.
I've had dead animals left outside.
Oh no, not the chicken foot again, and the car tracker. Prove it.
On my house, chickens' talons, mark.
Chickens' talons, or would that be roosters and cockerels' talons? Don't know.
On my wall, like sigils. One guy tried to poison me. He was involved in.
So is this guy? Is he in prison now? Like, is he pending jail? You know, for this poisoning. Like, it's a bold statement, isn't it? But is he going to name this poisoner that's running around there? Could be poisoning everyone else. I mean, he's got a penchant for it, according to Jon. Or has he not gone to the police about this poisoning? And he's quite happy for this guy to go around poisoning someone else. What an absolute pile of shite.
Santeria, and he was trying to give me food that had been poisoned, which is something which goes on. You know, I had someone ring up and say that that a baby was sacrificed in my name to try and stop me doing what I'm doing.
Shut up.
We get people like Russ Dizdar, out over your side, who one of the leading guys who exposes ritual abuse.
Shadow of the Darkness, yeah, he just passed away.
I did a bit with Russ. I used to share a lot of information with Russ. He's gone.
Me too. Yeah. He died from the hospital protocols, is my understanding. There's a whole series of murders here in the U.S. where they just got thrown in there, got remdesivir shoved down their throat, and they died because it was all the incentives were inverted so that the hospitals were making more money killing you than saving you. It's super crazy here in the United States. It's off the charts.
Ritual abuse is highly, highly organized. There is a structure to it. The rituals are very, very important, and it works, and it does work. I've become a very, very committed Christian. I would never, ever go nowhere near this if I didn't believe in Jesus Christ. It would be impossible. I wouldn't last 5 minutes. And I see a lot of people that they do go down very, very quickly. They get sick or terrible things happen to them because you can't. It's a spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
Can we have some examples of this? Are they dropping like flies around you, John?
And you can't go looking into this unless you've got some ground in the right sort of protection, and that is Jesus Christ. It's I would urge people don't go anywhere near this if you haven't got.
No, how about urging people don't go anywhere near it, full stop?
A good commitment to prayer and a good ground in Christianity, because it's dangerous. It is, and it works. It's
very dangerous. These are very dangerous people, committed people. Murder is nothing to them, so you got to.
Really, I mean, like someone said, how can you be a part-time Christian against a full-time devil? That they commit everything, and there's a reward. You see, you've got to see why do they do it, but there is a reward. You see, evil rewards people straight away. God does it in his own time. It is spiritual warfare, and it says, we fight not against flesh and blood, but children are so important in this. They are needed. And it just destroys. It destroys it. Sexual abuse destroys.
Stop it! Not skipping. He's got to get it back to the kiddies, hasn't he?
Edify, or whatever it is. The plural for edifice.
Statuary,
that is ritualistic. The labyrinth is very important. And the ancient Egyptian magic is also very important. You see that a lot. It's very, very common.
I thought they had a statue of horse.
You see it a lot. It's so common. What's it? It's not that common. I've never seen it. Don't want to see it.
Horus. I could have swore it was Horus, and there was Neptune, the undersea god. That's also a very important one too.
Because Neptune is nothing more than Leviathan. It's really strange because I met with a survivor of ritual abuse. Now, these survivors have all killed children.
What? Oh God, I'm not sure about this. Do we skip it or do we not? Oh, let's see where this goes. Oh.
Every single one I've spoken to, they've told me they've killed children. Every single.
Have we heard this before? Every single one. But I thought all CSA victims were actually victims of satanic ritual abuse. That's what you've said in the past, John.
Single one. But they're children when they do it. But this guy said, that they use trigger words to silence you. I said, okay, because I want to know why the people are kept in slavery. And every 13 years, see, Satanism, it's very important. Dates are very, very important to them, right? Now, Jesus Christ clearly said, no one will know the time and the coming. Even the angels in heaven don't know. So no one, people say about this, the coming of Jesus Christ, when it'll be, and they know. No, they won't. No one knows. They're a liar. But that's how you know the difference between good and bad, because good doesn't know the timing, right? Evil does. Evil has everything tied down to the minute, right? and 13 is a big thing. So every
Of course it
13
is.
years, when involved in Satanists, they have to take part in another ritual. They're called the I wills, and it's taken really from the book of Isaiah. I will be like the Most High. I will ascend to heaven. So everything is a twist on Christianity, and they'll stick to it. So at 13, 26, 39, boom, boom, as they go, they have to attend these rituals. If they don't, then the next year they're gone, they're finished. So we see this a lot with these celebrities that die at the age of 27. See people like Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse.
Oh my God. He will connect to anything, won't he?
They call it the 27 Club. Well, that's because they're coming out of Satanism. They don't want anything to do with it anymore. And then that's it. The next year they self-implode because they're coming out of the curse. You see, and there is a way. They've got to go to Jesus Christ, and there will be protection in there. But you can't just walk out of it.
Oh my God, John wants celebrities. John wants celebrities in his gang. Does that not sound like Scientology a little bit? Oh no.
Because it will come with such a terrible, terrible risk. But this guy said, I said, give me an example of the words that are used to control you, to trigger you.
Well, don't say them.
So
You'll have people. Don't say them on the internet. You'll be triggering these people off all over the place.
A phrase, and it consists of 2 words. Now, the first word was the river that goes through Hades. Now, when you look at it, it's not the river Styx, it's called something else. But when you cross this river, you forget your previous lives. So the reason they say that word to him is so he has amnesia. And then the next word was the Norse god Odin, his Odin's son that was blind.
So he's actually telling people how to go and find out what the words were, so they can go triggering off super soldiers all over the place. Wonderful.
And said that so even you've got the ancient Greek mythology is used in it, and then you've got the Norse mythology is used because Odin's son was blind, so that means he can't see it. So these things, this mind control is very strong element.
No comments here. This subject is disturbing. What's more disturbing is why more isn't being done to stop it. It's because he's making it up. To the greater degree, he's making it up. It's changed so much.
To ritualistic abuse.
It's always a handmaiden to occultism. All occultists have blatant mind control or mental manipulation or something always is involved in that. So you're always lying to people, controlling people, getting in their minds. I've never seen it without it. I've never read Satanism. Unfortunately, I have read a lot. I've never seen it without that, without some form of coercion.
But we see it all the time, don't we, in popular culture? It's got to a point where it's a joke now, especially the music industry. I don't trust. We hear a few of these musicians that say they're now Christian, and I don't trust them, right? And the reason I don't trust them is that they should be proclaiming Jesus Christ, their Lord, their Savior, and speaking out, but they don't. They're not speaking out, and they're not naming people. So therefore,
well, that's a bit rich coming from you, John, isn't it? Because you've never named anyone either. Behave yourself.
Stand up and speak out. If you've got something to say, speak out. What are you afraid of? And of course, they're afraid the system will take them out. And the system is afraid of being exposed. But the one thing is for certain, William, it is going to be exposed. The light will be shone on it,
The spirit within. Can we address Jeanette Archer, please, in some detail, John? Can we, please? Can we address that one day?
If I've done a little bit of work with John Ramirez. I don't know if you're aware of John Ramirez.
I think he's from New York, right? Wasn't he?
He's from the South Bronx, and he was telling me about Marilyn Manson. He said, and he calls him out. He calls out Marilyn Manson. He's got no qualms about it at all. And I've heard so much about so many people.
Tell us, John. Name them, John. Come on. You're talking about Ramirez. Oh, he's called out Marilyn Manson. Come on, how about you call out some people? Come on, you got all the evidence, right? Great investigator.
Manson was deep, and he was in a recent ritual with guys with occult ties with Kanye West, Bieber, not an occult tie, but him just being in this like Christian ritual without really divulging all the stuff Marilyn Manson. And we can go into all kinds of ties through the UK crimes and all kinds of stuff that he's not divulging. Makes you kind of wonder.
Yeah, but you know,
Speculation,
people like
then.
Marilyn Manson and some of the others, you know, they're stupid, they're fools, as well as being perverts and everything else.
Takes one to know one, I guess.
Where do they think it's going to get them? Look, we're all going to get old, and every one of us is going to die. I don't know what they think is going to happen to them, but whoever they worship is a liar. You know, the devil is a liar, and they're
But you don't know, do you? I mean, do I think Marilyn Manson's sick in the head? Yes, I absolutely do. But come on, John, you name some people.
they're heading for an eternity of pain. See, a lot of people tell me, they say, look, I don't believe in what you say, and I don't care. I'm not out here to make any friends. I'm not out here to influence people. I don't care. I don't care what.
Hang on, I thought you said you were a social influencer. You said that yourself. You're a public figure and social influencer and a household name. What are you chatting about? Why'd you spend all that money on Facebook then, promoting yourself?
People think. You know, it's entirely up to you. We're all going to find out one day. Every one of us is going to be our last day on this earth, and we're going to be our last hour on this earth. We're going to be our last second on this earth, and we're going to take our last breath. And we're going to soon find out, you know, if there is a God, if there is evil or whatever. We're all going to find out. I want to know that I've done everything I can to protect children and to expose Satanism. Everything I can to do it. And I think I will do a good job of it, you know. Because who's backing me is stronger than who's backing them, you know?
Well, bunch of criminals, as far as I can make out.
And who they follow is a liar. And they can give them all they want, all the wealth and the
Preaching by Jon Wedger. Holy moly.
the fame they want. But where's it going to get them? You know, going to give them a one-way ticket to hell, you know, and good luck with that one. You know, but this system needs exposing, and it does. Our judicial system needs exposing. You know, our corrupt family courts need exposing. You know, the prison system. All of this is part and parcel of failing our children, our education system. You know, we are suffering like you are in America with these drag queens doing story.
Oh no, John.
Hour. You know, what pervert of a parent would allow their children to sit in on that? Where is the benefit of that? You know, a drag queen, someone who clearly is a victim and a survivor of sexual abuse.
What? Oh, now all drag queens are abuse victims and survivors? What is he chatting about? Now, would I want my 5-year-old to be in drag time story time? I don't know. Wasn't around when my boys were younger. Probably not. Be like, what's the point of that?
You know, that's a damaged individual who hasn't got any trauma or treatment for the pain they're suffering. They're over sexualized and they're imparting this on young children. Surely they know the pain of childhood sexual abuse, because clearly when you look at these people, they've come from it.
And you can tell that by looking at people, can you? You can tell that by looking at drag queens. Drag queens have been around forever, John.
And I would say near enough everyone has come from it. You know, they know what sexual abuse does and how it destroys you.
This is disgusting, John. Stop it. God. I mean, he's not been his full normal racist self either yet, has he?
So why are they doing this? Why are they promoting?
Maybe he's moved on from that. He's Tommy Robinson era because, like, no one was interested. Maybe this is the new thing. Wonderful. Oh shit! Sorry. Took us back to the beginning. We were about here. No, we were when they changed the screens to Marilyn Manson. Oh, we didn't see that one. Okay, we're about here.
and they're imparting this on young children. Surely they know the pain of childhood sexual abuse, because clearly when you look at these people, they've come from it. And I would say near enough everyone has come from it. You know, they know what sexual abuse does and how it destroys you. So why are they doing this? Why are they promoting it to these poor little, you know, pups? You know, it's very, very distorted, twisted.
You mean children?
Logic.
No, it's happening here, and they put into the U.S. school system all these very provocative. I mean, some of them are porn books that are like being distributed, and there's a huge battle here that the parents don't want this to be want this to happen, and then like the FBI here was being sent out by the DOJ, like the literal head of law enforcement in the United States, to harass these parents. It's unbelievable to harass the parents who don't want their kids sexualized. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're seeing, and you know, it says it in the Bible at the end times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with I mean, I wouldn't be happy with some of the things that kids are taught now. My boys were little at school. No, keep them little as long as you can. Find out about the world quick enough when you're old enough. But John doesn't care.
What is good will be seen as bad, and what is bad will be seen as good.
Oh,
you know, and this is what's happening, you know, and it's such a shame that we are losing, you know, these overt mouthpieces, you know, and I say that in a respectful manner, like Russ Disdale, you know, who was standing up and speaking out and was really doing a good job at getting the information out there. Bang, one by one, we're seeing them shut down, and you know, we need to ramp this up, and we need to all stick together. The problem you get with victims and survivors of sexual abuse. Now, I'm a supporter of them. I'm not one to attack them, but I want
to... Don't lie, John. Don't lie. You've attacked plenty of survivors because they won't buy into your narrative when they've been going, no, it wasn't satanic. You're like, no, it was. You will say it was satanic. Come on. You've attacked plenty of survivors. Just stop it. Didn't you call Mike Tarago a sewer rat? Man who was dying. Yeah. And then lied and said Mike Tarago had phoned you up before he died. He could barely speak. His breathing was so bad. He did not call you up and say that you were a good man and he was wrong. No, he didn't. You called a dying man a sewer rat because he didn't agree with what you were doing. Nice, good Christian. And that's without the ones that haven't been brave enough to come forward and say it. I know plenty come to you for help. You've turned your back on them.
to give them some advice. Stop attacking each other. Unify and stop attacking.
That's a bit rich coming from you, John.
Attacking each other. And a lot of these support groups, when they set up survivor groups, they all collapse. All of them. Everyone.
What, like yours? You brought in the witches. You brought in what did you bring in? You brought in Archer, Cooper. You had Lou in there as well, although like she was smart enough to get out. And look at the damage they've done. Really nice. Off of you, Jon Wedger. Nobody else. Nobody else. You platformed them. Look what happened. Nothing good.
Collapses because they haven't addressed their own trauma, and they fight with each other, and they always collapse, you know. And a lot of the people that attack me are survivors themselves, and it's called projection, you know. That you go from hero to zero in a heartbeat when you don't do what they want you to do, you know.
No, John. No, plenty of people were sniffing a rat. The foundation wasn't a foundation. The Jon Wedger Foundation wasn't a foundation. You sending out pictures of your bank card so people could put money in your account. Your refusal to have honest and open accounts as to where that money was going. The list goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah, this is one of the.
They were sniffing a massive rat with you. Asked questions. Didn't like the answers because your answer was F off. It's got nothing to do with anyone. What I do with my money. because obviously people were donating thinking it was going to the Jon Wedger Foundation, and then no, it was your money. Get out of here. You didn't go from hero to zero just like that, did you? It's because you were snaky and untrustworthy.
Weirdest things I've ever seen, which is Marilyn Manson being covered up with Kanye West, who liked Alejandro Jodorowsky and had him at his wedding, with Justin Bieber at a so-called Christian, I think it's Hillsong, which is very questionable. Hillsong ritual. It's off the charts.
Yeah. Someone said to me, what do you think about Kanye West being a Christian? I said, well, he's a liar. If he's a Christian, then speak out about all the fetid abuse that you saw take place in the music industry.
God, he did too. He's allegedly a heavy abuser and knew LaVey. Like, you would think that he would just tell all his stories, but I haven't heard one of them yet.
But so again, strange. I mean, you've just shown a picture of Anton LaVey there. I mean, Anton LaVey on his deathbed allegedly screamed out, screamed out for God. Well, it's too late, Anton. You screwed up, mate. Too late. You had every chance to redeem yourself and put this right, but you chose to worship evil. And same as Marilyn Manson. Why are they given airtime? Who's allowing them? You haven't got to look at those that do it, but look at those that allow them to do it, and those that protect them. And then you'll start seeing who's really higher up, But Marilyn Manson, he's an idiot. The bloke is an absolute idiot, He's a fool. He's stupid because he's worshipping the losing side, and what he's doing, he's hurting others.
I can't do any more preaching with Jon Wedger. Skip him a bit.
It's
I don't know what it is. I'll have to look it up after.
But see what happens is that the United Kingdom intelligence services get involved, right? So when children make allegations involving politicians, and they have come out, we had it with the Elm Guest House. It was a place where male politicians were visiting, using rent boys, and I've spoken to some of the rent boys who are now grown men. See, this is the range list. It's oh
please,
it's an incredible document.
It is. It's a piece of fiction. It really is something else. Although the more hilarious one was the fake range list that was kicking around a few years ago. We had your name on it, Jon Wedger. That was brilliant. That all was quite a scandal back in the time. I was like, oh, this is such a load of crap. Because if a document goes up on the internet, people believe it. And there was the fake range list. I haven't been able to find it again. I've got it on an old computer somewhere downloaded, and Jon Wedger's name was on it. That was hilarious.
It really is an incredible document. Why that has never really been. The Satanists attack it all the time. That's probably a satanic one with grudge list written on it. It's
probably a satanic one. What someone who disagrees. So anyone that disagrees with this narrative is a satanic. I mean, I'm a Satanist, apparently. I'm really not. I'm agnostic. Find out, I don't know. I haven't been dead. I don't know if there's an afterlife or not. I kind of think we're going to end up being like biomatter, but, I'll find out, won't I?
I don't know if you can find it. Let's see.
But that's it. That's it. Ritual Abuse Information Network Support. There might not be many names that the US audience know, but there's plenty that the UK.
I wonder why there isn't a range list like a document like this in the States.
The audience knows. So there are
the range list born out of the satanic panic of the 80s. Yep.
These little nuggets out there that sort of signposts away, through all of this.
I can't be doing them anymore.
See, that's worth listening to. This guy here, his name's Alex Thompson. He's a former intelligence officer himself.
Is he now?
Lovely guy.
I've talked to Chris Spivey too. I've interviewed Chris Spivey.
Oh man, really? Is he still kicking around?
About what he wrote about the elite, So This
Yeah,
is
I mean,
Spivvy. Maybe it's on Spivey. Sorry.
yeah. I mean, I
Uh,
have to navigate my way through very carefully because there's a lot of people that do get carried away, and they go down a route
yeah,
which could
you.
be deemed conspiratorial, and
Yeah, you. Bringing Jeanette Archer. And many others.
you
What about when you was over the wall trying to peer into Michael Barrymore's home? Can we address that? When you put the high-vis jacket on and you was in the school playground, and you had, was it Jeanette Archer and, oh God, who was it? Jeanette Archer and someone as like the getaway drivers. Do you remember that? Oh God, I'd forgotten all the madness. Can we address that, John? No, no. Okay then.
you've got to be very balanced, you know, in order to
Oh yeah, very balanced. All CSA is satanic. Yeah, that was very balanced. Everybody who disagrees with you is a Satanist. Yep, seems pretty balanced to me.
keep your credibility. You've got
You have no credibility, John. Behave yourself.
to keep a balance. Um, but there's enough stuff out there, especially regarding our political elite. But the reason the intelligence services get involved is because, you know, this sort of information, you know, especially if Putin was to get hold of it,
Oh my God.
could be incredibly detrimental to the political instability. I mean, Cyril Smith, that guy there.
But yeah, oh God, no, skipping. Can't do this. This is just like he's toned his pervertness down though a lot in this. He knows his audience. He knows he can't get. I mean, he does get excited. He gets his shits and kicks being very, very graphic. But he knows that's not for an American audience.
You know, and Charles protected him, openly protected
Oh,
him, and
Jimmy
Charles
Savile.
denigrated his victims. You know, so you know, Prince Charles, you know, wretched what he's done. Again, Paul Boateng, you
He's
know,
king now, right? King Charles III.
Keep up,
and it's
John.
just incredible. You know.
This picture is incredible too.
Yeah, keep up, John. King Charles. Where you been?
This is just a nightmare gallery of the usual suspects. Michael Jackson, this kind of magician who has his own allegations, Boateng, and then Janner, who was didn't he get convicted, or he just was a
I know a victim
no.
of Janus.
Rebel
I know a
Janus.
victim of.
Behave yourself. Didn't. Oh God, no. Slander, slander, slander. These were allegations that were never. What? I can't remember. Did Jenna get done, or did he die? I can't remember. Why are we rehashing all of
Oh,
this?
he needs a lot more than that, doesn't he? You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
you know, and
How long? Do you recall offhand, John, how many pages the Reigns list is? Because I think.
well, I thought it was 16 pages.
Okay, so I think a lot of it's in here.
Yeah,
'Cause I've seen it
you know,
really
It'd be funny if it was 13 pages, wouldn't it?
and the venues. I've spoken to victims who corroborate the venues as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, what's her
I've
name?
spoken to
Vicky Ash. Yeah, right. Not a shred of evidence with Vicky Ash either, was there?
quite a few people that you know, sort of. I mean, here's another one, Tony Blair. I mean,
He's a war criminal, yeah.
yeah, unbelievable. You know,
Yeah, Blair is a war criminal. So is Bush.
It's just it goes on, and I mean, I know a couple of guys. They made it their life's work to expose this, you know, but they take it to the grave because the system just attacks them. You know, one poor old guy. You know, the police are always investigating him because he's been doing. He was, you know, a lobbyist, a local councillor, and he was a senior social worker for many years. And if it wasn't for him, a lot of the paedophiles in Parliament wouldn't have got exposed. And he's constantly being harassed by the police. And the intelligence services had a campaign, and he got 3 bullets put through his window once.
Wow.
You know, but it's worn him out. It's been his life. But you know, the press, you know, two departments.
Who's he talking about? Is he talking about that guy that looks like a tortoise? That Bill Maloney bought us. He was supposed to have been next social worker. No, he wasn't like a lobbyist or anything like that. The only lobbyist we know is Wilfred Wong, and he's doing 17 years in the clink for kidnapping.
Need a real kick in the
John's mate.
arse, really, and it's the church. The church
Uh-oh.
needs to be speaking out. The church needs a proactive wing, and they need to be speaking out against it.
Are you still upset that the Catholic Church didn't want to touch you with a barge pole? That's why you turned your back on them.
You know, they're the antithesis of Satanism. They should be screaming and shouting to expose this, but they don't want to know. And the other one is the media.
Yeah,
they're putting nothing out about it. Nothing.
If your job requires you not to look at something, somebody famously said, I forgot who the guy was, you won't look at it. So all those people, they don't want to risk the gravy train they're on. The media.
Well, it's the same with me with my.
Oh, let's not talk about gravy trains. John knows all about that.
My career, William. You know, I thought I was really doing a good thing. You know, and I was just I was attacked so violently, so viciously. I couldn't believe it, and I thought, well, what have I done? You know, I really thought that I was bringing home the biggest case I ever had, and it was just get rid of that. You can't expose that. My word, what have you done? They didn't expect me to expose it. You see, and
you didn't expose it, did you? In fact, someone sent me a little newspaper article, and I found another little newspaper article that backed it up. Where you do you remember when you took down the great big Turkish Kurdish gambling ring, and took all the credit for that? Well, there's a newspaper article when that went to court, where you're actually praising the people who did, and it wasn't you, was it? So full of shit you are, man.
When I did, it was there was a big problem. Now, this is being orchestrated up than the police, you know.
And here's Elton John. You mentioned Katie Lang, Pam St. Clement. I don't know. A list of some of the financial contributors to group.
Well, Pam St. Clement, she's a soap opera actress in a thing called EastEnders. It's very famous in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, that was super famous.
Yeah, and she plays the barmaid Pat. She's a lesbian, and
does he need to point out that she's a lesbian? What's that got to do with anything? Is Pat Butcher on the Reigns list? Get out of here. What are they talking about? Is it still the Reigns list? It looks very much like it is. Why does he have to point out someone's sexuality? What's that got to do with anything?
In real life, in the soap opera, no, but you know that's who she is. So we got to look at what is the secret of these people's success. Well, look,
right, Ian McClellan. I mean, he's huge.
Yeah,
I didn't expect to see him on this too. Contributions from this group alone this year, number £80,000. It's a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
So they're putting money into this stuff. Wow.
You know, I mean, it's gold. This is going back a long way. This is back to the 90s. It's not that old. I think it was updated in 2003. But it's like I say, you know, look at Mark Dutroux, right? And you see in living memory, you know, this, and then look at the Reigns list. Very similar from the same sort of year, same sort of era. And it's there in volumes. Why no one has picked up and made a documentary about, you know, and connecting both of them. Mark Dutroux was a Satanist, you know.
I didn't know that. Do you know what his Satan? I know that his friend was definitely a Satanist. His name was, I remember his face.
Mark Dutroux thing, that was absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. The money, the properties, like none of that made sense. There was something very sinister going on there. Was it satanic? I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting fed up. We're an hour into this. You can find this on the internet. Let's just get this wrapped up. It's not putting me in a good mood. I knew it wouldn't. Jon Wedger just winds me up.
The care system is a business, and it's actually when we're going about trafficking, children in care homes is trafficking because they're basically sold. Now, there was a big children's home. There was an anthropologist by the name of Dr. Bernardo, and he set up this children's home, and he exported tens of thousands of children. In fact, he sold them under auction to Canada, and he sold them to whoever was buying them. So some would go into.
I think they get sent to Australia as well. I mean, it was wrong. We're going back a long time. Terrible things happened. Terrible things have happened in history. Do we repeat it? Yeah, sadly we do. Yeah, the whole Bernardo's thing. I mean, I'm not into big charities anyway. Anyone that's paying a CEO of a charity over £100,000, well, it's not charity, is it? It's business under charity.
Most of them were going in for cheap labour and some into sexual servitude. There's appalling cases of it in Canada,
Yeah, there are.
and a lot of it was run by the church. The church.
Well, yeah, we know about the sort of re-education, the complete stripping of any sort of heritage that you had, any family commitment and ties that you had. What was going on in the church and state-run schools over there, where kids were being taken away from their parents, having religion shoved down their throats. We know this has happened. Has there been any justice for these people? No, there absolutely hasn't. Was it abhorrent? Yes, of course it was.
Set up a lot of homes in the UK. There was a lot of sexual abuse that went on within these homes.
Yes, there was.
Now, there's something very interesting that came out about, especially I'm going to only talk about the Catholic homes here. Now, 80% of the Catholic homes were offshoots of Catholicism. So they were different orders. So they were like the Order of the Brothers de la Salle and various other factions.
We forgot.
And 80% of these orders are not answerable to the Vatican. So they have no adjudication.
Yay, John's gone.
Still there?
Yay.
The
John's
guy who I was
gone.
trying to remember. Oh, sorry. You just blipped out for a second. Can you restate that? They're not affiliated with the Catholic orders, right?
Well, what they are, they're self-governing, so they don't come under the adjudication of the Vatican. So there is no one to manage these. So they're basically self-managing. So whenever there's a complaint against them, they deal with it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas it should have gone to a higher body to deal with, and then they should have brought in sanctions, there isn't any. So any complaint, they deal with a complaint. So it's like someone saying about Jon Wedger, look, we got a complaint about Jon Wedger, and it's given to me to investigate. So there was a lot of abuse within these church homes, a lot.
We know that.
Another Oswald asks, is Wedger familiar with the work of Alex Thompson and David Scott of UK Column? Does he approve of their coverage of abuse?
Yeah, well, I mean,
he's been on UK Column when he was touting himself around. Well, when Bill Maloney was touting him around. UK Column, is it the head of the snake in all of this? I don't know. It's quite sinister though.
Alex Thompson he actually narrated the Range List, so he gets a massive thumbs up. I've done an interview with David Scott. The UK Column were the first ones to put my testimony out there, and I thank them for that, because had they not done, I think I would have probably been arrested for speaking out to the press. So
bullshit.
I've got no problem with them. In fact, I applaud the UK Column for what they have done in the
course you do. You're connected.
Past.
Gotcha. And this is the guy who I'm pretty sure I read about. He's an associate of Dutroux who practiced some form of occultism.
Okay, right, yeah.
Michelle New, who will have to go back and look at.
Oh, Michelle New, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He doesn't know.
My memory's a little fuzzy. I saw Mr. Wedger briefing Bill Maloney and Ben Fellows at the Notting Hill Tabernacle at a UK Column event in 2011. Was he still a policeman then?
Yes, he was.
I retired in 2017. So that should answer that.
Let's see. Ben Fellows op accusations were made, money collected, and eventually it all disappeared, as did Ben. He returned with a new name, Zed Phoenix, once forgotten. Have you heard that story?
I know he changed his name, but whatever.
He knows exactly. Right. So this person here is actually like throwing some truth bombs in here. This guy doesn't know what this person is doing here. Oh yeah, Ben Fellows, that was a grift, wasn't it? That was quite a grift. He tried another grift, didn't he, recently? Wasn't it Boaty McBoatface? Something like that. I got blocked. I don't know what happened there, but he was asking for people to like back him. He was going to go sailing off around the world. Then he was going to make a platform more powerful than Google, but he needed money because it was going to get built in India. Yeah, it was another grift. They're all grifting. Don't make out you don't know, John. You know completely.
He's done. That's nothing to do with me. I mean,
He jumped on the Ben Fellows. He jumped on the bandwagon, didn't he, with Zed Phoenix making out. Oh wow, look at this. Oh, the COVID, the plague, all of it. Utter grifter.
Gotcha.
who knows?
You know. Don't go, who knows? You know exactly. Behave yourself. Awkward. Just a little bit awkward, is it, John? Are we going to wrap it up soon?
Let's see. Has Wedger heard of Alison Miller's work on SRA? She's in Victoria, BC. And does he think there's much difference between North America and UK SRA?
I've never heard of her. I'm going to look her up, though. Now you said that. There won't be
Yeah, because he loves an American connection. Well, she got a YouTube channel. Love to be on it.
any difference between it at all. It's all based. It's ancient. It's all based on the same premise. You're going to get regional variations, but even if I look at stuff to do with voodoo, for example, it'll be the same. So the gods will be named differently. So one of the deities that's worshipped in Satanism is Leviathan.
Right. No, get back to the nitty gritty. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about Bill Maloney. Let's talk about donations. Let's talk about all the grifters.
Right, the serpent of the water. Whereas in Africa, West Africa, they'll call it the Mami water. And in Santeria in South America, they'll call it a very similar derivative of that. So it's all the same when you break it down. They're all the same gods. They just have
the same gods. It's same in the Order of Nine Angles. My most recent study of kind of occultism, they worship the, what is it? The same god in Greek and Roman stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Same type.
Yeah, it's like Zeus, and it's like Thor and all them. They're all just variations of it. Neptune.
All those things, yeah. Sean Wake the Dead. Does John believe the police are working for the Satanists who are abusing the children?
Oh, I mean that's. I mean, by their fruit show, you know them. I mean, one thing I'll say is the police aren't doing enough.
You little snake. He's not liking this. He was like, I thought it was just going to be me spouting off. I didn't think this guy was going to bring up comments and I'd have to answer questions. That's not in my script. What?
To expose Satanism, if anything at all. And in doing that, if they probably are doing the work for the Satanists. Look, I don't have a problem with police. I have a problem with corruption, and we have corruption in high office. My problem was corruption in high office. Lower down, it's more stupidity than it is corruption. But high up, there definitely is a cover-up.
Yeah, we're talking about stupidity. Wasn't your nickname in the police numbnuts? That's not a compliment, bud. That's not a compliment at all, is it?
So with that question, what I'd say, high up, without a doubt, the police are doing the work for the Satanists. High up, lower down, no. I wouldn't point my finger at the low level detective or constable, no, but in high office, undoubtedly.
And this is something that actually came to my mind while you were talking about the police. What do you think about Freemasonry and the police department protecting each other?
Yeah, it does go on. It does. Without a doubt. It's I don't think there should be an oath within an oath. I've seen it happen. I have seen it happen many times. Yeah. And again, it's very covert. It's a secret society, but without a doubt it happens. And it happens in the criminal world as well.
Yeah, but John, by saying yes, it happens, yeah, blah, blah. Was there anyone around that didn't know it happened? Don't think so.
But they'll both deny it if asked, but yes, it does.
They have to.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Illustrate for Life asks again, have any of the victims you're you've tried to assist received any form of justice?
Nope.
Have any victim they've
No.
received healing?
No justice.
They've gone
Justice.
on. Yeah, they have. They've gone on to get compensation. Yeah, one went on, and her father did get convicted. So, yeah, I mean, what you've got to understand is that I'm not law enforcement, and I'm not international rescue. I have no access to intelligence indices.
Whose audio is this?
All I
Is
can
this
do
mine?
is open source. I've only got the statutory any person power under common law. I've got no extra powers.
This is
I've got
audio.
none of
This
the
best not
trappings
be
that
mine.
police officers got. The access to information I had in the police was phenomenal. Would that no? But
Skipping a bit. Hang on, let's get back to that. Even if it is crackly and it is my audio.
in respect to people receiving freedom through recovery and through therapy, yeah, a lot. And I have got untold amounts of emails thanking people for what I've done and steering them in the right direction. Incredible amounts. So yeah, I mean,
I've got a ton of emails telling me about all the people you didn't help. Isn't that weird? Polar opposites. It's like we're talking about a different person.
without doubt, that I've got a lot of evidence that will back up the fact that what I was doing was the right thing.
Gotcha. And ritual abuse is real. Ask about Karen Irving.
Uh-oh.
Do you know her name? Are you familiar with her?
He is.
Karen Irving is a Satanist.
No.
And she runs a group called Hoaxed. Interview.
Yep. Called him out on his bullshit. I'm no fan. But that's from a previous life, and I'm sure it's the same person. I'm absolutely sure it's the same person. He doesn't know she's a Satanist just because she called him out, and that Hoaxed blog, it does point out all the discrepancies.
I don't think I've ever interviewed her.
I think I interviewed with her. I think that she's the one who says Hampstead is fake.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's a Satanist.
She's a Satanist. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She's
That's
not.
Yeah,
provable.
Karen Irving is part of Hoaxed. She's not a nice individual.
Okay.
She's a troll as well, so I'm not a fan of hers.
Not a fan of her. So what's your thought?
Because she didn't agree with what was going on with the witch hunt around the Hampstead case. Like, she's a troll and she's a Satanist. Alrighty. Can we have some evidence of this, please, John? And I'm glad it is his audio because mate is chipping in here. It's not mine, and his is clear, so it's John.
Thoughts about the whole Hampstead story and the kids?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of what the children say ties in with a lot of what the survivors say. So I've got no reason to doubt the children at all. And I think when the children give their accounts, I mean, it was handled in the wrong way by everyone that's come across it. Even when the Guardians interviewed her, it was done in an appalling way. However, when the children did give what's known as a free-flowing narrative, I believe them.
Gotcha.
You would, because it fits your narrative. Behave yourself, John.
So you're a believer?
He was tits deep in it from day one, and so was UK Column. So was Bill Maloney. There was emails that have flown about with regards to that at that time. No one was too sure about it, so.
The children. I found their story to emulate kind of satanic ritual abuse, but some of it I found to be not.
Well, when the backdrop of the characters involved, right? Just look at them.
Not credulous or credible. Also, the fact that the parents kind of ran off and then left.
The parents, I've got question marks over the parents, but
yeah,
the children.
No, you got question marks over the parents, but no, they were telling the truth. Simple fact is, you don't know, do you, John? It's okay to say that you don't know.
Their narrative was too free flowing, but the parents are,
Well, I mean, the thing is that a lot of the people who I think are credible and have gone through these events, they're mentally, they're
They're scarred for life.
yeah, they're scarred.
They're
So they're
damaged
yeah,
and they're
they're
scarred for life.
damaged. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
talking to damaged people. I mean, I found that to be the
Yeah, very, very damaged people. Yeah, and they're emotionally damaged, and it's shocking. And there's a different sort of damage with the ritual abuse. So they end up with this multiple personality, the DID, and some of that can be very problematic.
Gotcha. Jon, we are at 90 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to add or anything I missed? And can you also give your contact information? I know you have a huge Twitter following, but people want to reach out.
Yeah. I mean, I everything I do, I tend to do very covertly now, and all that. But you,
Yeah, so there's no checks and balances. Not dishing out your bank card anymore.
you can get me
Still getting donations though, aren't you, bud?
on my email, which is Jon Wedger. I'll answer that one for Wilf in a minute, but let me Jon Wedger, WEDGER, the word foundation at gmail.com.
Unbelievable. He's still got that.
I can't guarantee I'll get back to people. I can't guarantee I can help. I will try, and that's that. I'll make no promises, and I do talk to people abroad. I mean, what I would say to people is, if you are a survivor of SRA, get your testimony out there. Speak out. Make this common. Make it that.
Yeah, what happened to the podcast, Jon? What happened to that?
That others are prepared to speak out, and with that you'll have strength in numbers, and you'll start to be taken seriously. But why it's kept undercover, it remains undercover, and
yeah, or you'll be exploited, and people will just turn against you, and use private things against you. They're likely to record all your phone calls. When it suits, put your emails up there. Yeah, be careful. Don't get in touch with these people. They can't help you.
and they keep winning. Let's stop giving the devil these victories. Let's give some victory to Jesus for a change, and we only need one good, credible victory, and that's it. It's exposed for good, But while we don't get that, we keep getting these people like Karen Irving and all the other Satan followers, boasting and tribulating all the time. But Wilfred Wong remains in prison.
Good.
God willing, he gets released. We just don't know. The justice system has been unreasonably harsh against him. Well, it would be, wouldn't it? Because this is a man with no previous convictions.
He stabbed a woman's tyres, kidnapped a child at knife point, was going to bundle him in a truck. It was an organised sting, and they were going to traffic him overseas. Really? That's quite a crime there. Rescue my ass.
I'm not saying that I agree with his actions or anything like that.
Well, you haven't condoned them, have you? In fact, on your Facebook, you've got the little T-shirts, Free Wilfred Wong. Shut up, man.
However, I'll stand testimony to his character. He's a good man.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't. He's a crazy fundamental Christian who spent his life trying to hinder women's rights. He's an anti-abortionist. He makes no sense whatsoever. And now he's a convicted kidnapper. And that's without all the lies and bullshit. You gonna stand up for that?
He's a man of God. And he would not knowingly ever do anything to hurt a child, but he would do everything to expose Satanism. So
yeah, blah 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 blah. What a joke.
Let's hope he gets an appeal and he gets released, and he continues his good work.
Right, and
well, takes years to get an appeal, so we don't have to worry about him for a good few years, do we?
Yeah, great talk. Thanks for sharing all that information. There's a lot there, and people can check it out on, let's see, I'll put links to some of the other interviews you've done. Yeah. And then do you respond on Twitter, or do you care about that?
No, I won't respond on Twitter.
Gotcha.
Maybe on
No, because he has to answer. Yeah, Twitter. No, I just love the adulation on Twitter. Yeah, yeah. Anyone that disagrees with me, you bloody Satanists, you're not having a say. That's the thing with John. There's no open conversation with him. It's his way or no way. And when you've got a mindset like that, you know it's bullshit.
Facebook.
Okay, Facebook. I saw your Facebook
But
page.
email I will. And what I would want people to do is I want a short paragraph, a bit of a commitment, because if they are out to troll or anything else, at least there is something that that I can keep. And if the authorities need to be informed of these people, then I'll
Oh,
happily do.
no. You want a little short paragraph about what? So that you can keep it, what, and blackmail him with it later? Yeah, of course. We know that goes on. That's what I'm telling you. They'll expose your emails. They record your telephone calls. Don't get in touch with these people. If you've been through any kind of abuse whatsoever, do not go to these people. You can't trust them. The privacy and decency is they're not friends. These people have never met that they will use it against you, and they will turn. They're like rats in a bucket. They'll eat each other in the end. But this crap needs to stop.
That, but I won't engage with stupidity anymore. But if I can help, I can help. And what I will say to people is, in order for the triumph of evil, it takes but for good people to do nothing. Let's stop doing nothing. Let's start speaking out. Find your voice. They're the ones that have done wrong.
Just blow the damn whistle. Give us the names, John. Then maybe we can all do something about it. As long as you're like, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name names. Well, like, where's that leave us all then? Apart from dead politicians and shit like that. Let's have some names, John. Because we've heard you say, well, I'm not naming names. Why is that? Because if it's true and you can back it up, what's to be scared of?
They're the perverts,
Aye.
to the victims, you've done nothing wrong. You were a victim, you were a child, you had no choice. They had a choice and they chose to hurt. Be strong, speak out, and let's expose these people, expose them for what they are.
Amen. And again, your email is Jon Wedger Foundation @gmail.com, correct?
Yeah, Jon, Jon, yeah, without an H.
And again, it's Jon Wedger. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
And I appreciate the time you've afforded me, William, and good luck with all your work.
Thanks.
And God bless. Thank you.
God bless
so
you
much.
too. Thank you for your work. All right, stay there. Okay, we're live. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey
Then I'll happily do that. But I won't engage with stupidity anymore. But if I can help, I can help. And what I will say to people is,
after this one, we'll pause it.
In order for the triumph of evil, it takes but for good people to do nothing. Let's stop doing nothing. Let's start speaking out. Find your voice. They're the ones that have done wrong. They're the perverts.
Do not email him anything
to the victims,
personal.
you've done nothing wrong. You were a victim, you were a child, you had no choice. They had a choice and they chose to hurt. Be strong, speak out, and let's expose these people, expose them for what they are.
Amen. And again, your email is Jon Wedger Foundation @gmail.com, correct?
Yeah, Jon, Jon, yeah, without an H.
And again, it's Jon Wedger. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
And I appreciate the time you've afforded me, William, and good luck with all your work.
Thanks.
Right, a good man who caused trauma to a child. Jon Wedger constantly contradicts himself. Yes, he does, and that's not even scratching the surface.
And God bless. Thank you.
God bless
so
you
much.
too. Thank you for your work. All right, stay there.
So that was that. Let's remove it. We're not listening to that again. Right, I did cut chunks out of that, but we got the gist. So he's back again. But what happened to his podcast? Didn't happen, did it? Has anything he's ever said happened? Apart from the grifting? Don't think so. Right, anyway, that's over an hour and a half. We got through it a bit quicker than I thought we would, just because I skipped bits. So anyway, that's John, being a prick as usual. Yeah, much love to you and yours. Look after yourselves and do not get in touch with any of these people. He wants that short paragraph. He said it himself there, didn't he? Whew, that was a little Alice through the looking glass. He wants a little paragraph, basically so he can use it against you. He said to take it to the authorities, the very corrupt authorities that wouldn't help him. No, he wants it so that he can expose your personal details, basically blackmail you. That's what I take from that. That's my opinion on it. Beautiful, John. Nice one. What a prick. Right. Anyway, much love to you and yours. Look after yourselves. Yeah, that's it. I'm out. Take care. Bye.